We here in the Middle East, at least, we have witnessed a lot of wars and conflicts within countries and between countries. So I think his idea was very clear that religion was used or misused by politicians and by conflicting factions from different parts, from different religions, from different sects, and that's why the wars are continuing.
Good evening and welcome to the Rosenberg Report, the only weekly primetime news and analysis show on any American TV network that's produced in Israel, much less right here in Jerusalem. And that is not a green screen, that is the old city of Jerusalem. Next week, Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen is making his first ever visit to Bahrain. And tonight, I want to take you inside this small Arab kingdom to help you understand why it's not just beautiful, but it's also immensely important to both U.S. and Israeli national security. Located next to Saudi Arabia and just 100 miles from the Iranian regime, few people know much about Bahrain, but you should. Back in the 1800s, Bahrain was actually the first country in all of the Arabian Gulf to welcome evangelical Christian missionaries and give them permission to build a Christian hospital, school, and church to serve the local population. In 1932, Bahrain became the first place in the Gulf where oil was discovered, completely transforming the economics and the politics of the region, which is why last year I went to see the first oil well for myself. In the 1970s, the U.S. Navy made Bahrain the base of its all-important Fifth Fleet, making it America's front line of defense against Iranian aggression and front line of protection for tankers bringing oil from the Gulf to the rest of the world. In 2017, Bahrain's beloved and impressive monarch, King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, made history by releasing the Bahrain Declaration, a landmark document protecting full religious freedom for all Bahrainis, and in it, the king denounced radical Islamist extremists who try to use religion to justify their violence, and, listen to this, he declared that everyone has the right to choose and even change one's religion. A right, he said, that cannot be trampled on by government because it is, he said, a divine gift. Amen. And then, in September 2020, King Hamad made history again, this time by announcing his courageous decision to join the Abraham Accords and make a full peace with Israel. He actually made the announcement on September 11th of 2020, changing the equation of that date of September 11th forever. Amen. I'd never been to Bahrain before that, but now I visited for each of the last 3 years. Last year, I led a delegation of evangelical business and media leaders to Bahrain, put together by All Israel News, All Arab News, and the Joshua Fund. We met with senior government officials, including the Minister of the Interior, one of the most powerful officials in the country, and what a fascinating conversation that was. We visited the biggest church in all of the Gulf region, which was just built and opened near Manama, the capital of Bahrain. We also visited Manama's beautiful synagogue, recently refurbished with the help of Jared Kushner, the architect of the Abraham Accords. This year, I came back to Bahrain to meet with senior economic officials, business leaders, and investors because I've really fallen in love with this country, and I believe more Christians and Israelis need to go and visit Bahrain and even invest there. I've fallen in love with its gorgeous beaches and resorts, its open heart to Americans and Israelis, its hospitality to Christians and Jews, and its peaceful, safe, and I would say laid-back island vibe. Imagine a Caribbean country with money. That's Bahrain. I call it the hidden pearl of the Gulf. And tonight, I want to share with you 2 interviews that will help you understand why. The first is with Shaikh Khalid bin Khalifa Al Khalifa. He was chairman of the King's Global Center for Peaceful Coexistence, though sadly, He recently passed away at the age of 65, not long after I did this interview. Shaikh, thank you so much for spending time with me and with our evangelical delegation. I am fascinated with His Majesty King Hamad. He is a man of vision, and I don't think that most people in the world, certainly in the United States, I don't think most Christians are aware of the level of religious freedom that is found here in the Kingdom of Bahrain. That in many ways you all are pioneers in the Muslim world of saying that, you know, we're Muslims, but we respect Christians, we respect Jews, we respect those of other faith. Would you talk to me a little bit about His Majesty and what is the Bahrain Declaration, and why did he present it to the world?
His Majesty, as he says, whenever we meet him and whenever he talks about religious freedom and freedom of worship, he always said that I did not invent anything today. He said, I inherited this from my grandfathers and grandfathers.
You're a historian, so you really know the history of this country.
Yes, in fact, 1893, 92, 93. In fact, the United States wasn't even known to this area as a whole, you know. And
I mean the king at the time, the emir, he wasn't even familiar with America. He had never been there.
Never. And to welcome a mission, an American mission, that in fact asked for a school, a hospital. Schools and hospitals are really connected to preaching for Christianity or any other religion, and the church. It means that he even knew that it was for the purpose of preaching, but he didn't mind.
Wow.
He didn't mind, and he in fact granted that license for this for the community. The idea of a place to worship was very important for His Majesty at that time, and until today, in fact, His Majesty the King Hamad just last year inaugurated the Lady of Arabia Cathedral.
Yes, we just visited there.
Yes,
interviewed the priest.
It is the biggest now in the area, and not only this, he's really, as I hear him myself, that he is, looking forward to encouraging people from the area to come and pray in this cathedral.
So how would you describe the purpose of the Bahrain Declaration, and why did the king want it to be written and published?
His idea and vision is really to encourage the whole of the world to respect each other, to respect the idea of freedom of religion, and we here in the Middle East, at least, we have witnessed a lot of wars and conflicts within countries and between countries. So I think his idea was very clear that religion was used or misused by politicians and by conflicting factions from different parts, from different religions, from different sects. And that's why the wars are continuing, the conflicts are continuing. I think one very important idea of the whole of the declaration, the Kingdom of Bahrain Declaration, was in fact faith. We must have faith. We all, if you have faith in any other God, in any God that we wish to, whether we are Abrahamic or non-Abrahamic, then in fact we will not conflict with each other. Faith is very important. Faith is very important for us to respect each other.
And I think as a government policy, it makes sense. Even though His Majesty certainly has his own deep faith as a Muslim, but as a policy to say, listen, whatever you believe, we will respect it. We're not going to trample on it. We're not going to, force you to do something else. But even more, I think, dramatic inside the Bahrain Declaration is the freedom to choose your religion. That it's not, nothing can be forced on you, that you have the right to choose and even to change. And that is not something that many, I guess it's the most sensitive issue in the issue of religious freedom. To let somebody else practice their faith, that's nice. But if they want to try to persuade me to change mine, that's seen as very sensitive. And yet His Majesty said, listen, in the end, as a government, as a Muslim, we want to believe as Muslims, but as a government, we give you we protect your freedom to make your decision. That is, I think, close to revolutionary, and it's very positive.
It is positive because if you look at it, we are talking about 5 articles. They all have the basis for freedom of religion, freedom of worship, freedom of expressing your ideas, your opinions, and they all integrate to each other to form this form of interfaith at its highest level.
I want to say, as an Israeli, as an American, as a Jew, and as a follower of Jesus, I want to say shukran to His Majesty, to you, to the King Hamad Center, because I think this is a very important story, and I look forward to sharing it with people all over the world. Thank you very much.